We don't know too much about Jude Law's character in Skeleton Crew. In some interviews, they simply describe him as a Jedi, one who is simply known as the Teacher, which has been corroborated by reliable scoopers, while Jude himself has stated the truth is actually a bit more murky and complicated. In the teaser trailer shown at Star Wars Celebration, he is seen levitating objects, so we know he has the Force. And what makes this so interesting is that during the time period the show is set in, Jedi and Force users are pretty scarce. We know Luke has his Jedi Academy, Leia, Ezra, Ahsoka, Sabine, Baylan, Shin, Grogu, and a few others. So the fact Chris Ford and John Watts are introducing another Force sensitive during the New Republic is pretty damn interesting. And I know as a fandom we're going to have a lot of questions. The biggest one, is he a survivor of Order 66? Well, here's where things get very weird, because something Jude Law said in a recent interview has me thinking that after the Great Jedi Purge, this character went down a similar path to Baylan Skoll, a Jedi who followed a different and maybe slightly darker path to find his own greater truth. Jude Law's character will be shown to be a guide for the children, trying to help them find their way home, but even he himself admits his motives aren't always what they seem. There is a reason he goes out of his way to help them, but in truth, they might serve a greater purpose, one that could connect to the Imperial Remnant, either Thrawn or maybe Brendol Hux. And the reason I say this is Chris Ford has now admitted Skeleton Crew is an important chapter in the Mandalorian story that is going to connect to Filoni's film. There is something at the heart of this show that connects to the stories of Ahsoka, Peridia, Mando, Grogu, maybe Boba Fett, and other such stories we've already explored. We already know about a couple of familiar villains, but it runs deeper than that. Jude Law said this: his character is a lot like the world that they experience, contradictory, and at times a place of nurture, but other times a place of threat. Is Star Wars giving us another dangerous, dark Jedi that we can't fully trust? Or is this type of Force user something entirely new to Disney Star Wars canon? Are they showing us that the scattered survivors of Order 66 all those decades ago did not all follow the same monolithic plan to hide, but rather some embraced darker elements of the Force for strength and their own survival? Jude Law's character might be working for a bigger villain. There is something very smugglerish about him. He might be part of a larger underground syndicate. And part of the show does take us into that seedy dark underbelly. And Jude even says the show starts out pretty goofy, but then it devolves into something rather scary and dark, especially from the perspectives of the young orphans lost in the most unfamiliar parts of the galaxy. And this might sound rather crazy and rather out there, but this would be the perfect show to confirm there is another survivor who is still active at this time. Imagine if the teacher helps these kids and dupes them into trusting him. Maybe if he decides to deliver them to a greater villain, perhaps their parents are high officials in the New Republic and so the children are going to be taken as hostages. Or maybe these kids are Force sensitive and are wanted for their M counts, or just to be trained to be used as a weapon for the Remnant. The hero who comes to rescue the children is a character Dave Filoni wanted to put in his film, but needed to introduce first in a Disney Plus show, and that character is Cal Kestis. Since Cal was once part of the secret Jedi path, as teased at the end of Jedi Survivor, it would not be too big of a stretch to believe that decades down the line, if he's still alive, he is now helping Force sensitives who are around after the Empire's reign. Maybe he's helping Luke Skywalker in recruiting more students for the Academy. But again, all of this is contingent on some, if not all of these children being Force sensitive, and at this stage, with the show rumoured to be an entire year away, there is no way we can know that for certain. And I should reiterate, this is just a fun theory. Imagine in the last episode of the show, that is who appears. Now, I'm not saying this is what they're going to do. In fact, I very much doubt we're going to see Cal Kestis in any project until the release of the third Jedi game, but it's just a really cool idea. I'm very hyped to see what they do with Jude's character. He's a great actor. Let's hope they give him his own individual spin.